Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to JoyNews Today. My name is Aisha Brian. We're coming to you live from our studios in Kokomlemle. We're on DTT because we're free to on DSTV channel 421 and Go TV channel 125. We are your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Coming up this afternoon, no end in sight for the resolution of the cases filed against anti-LGBTQ as Supreme Court adjourns Richard Sky's case, allowing him to file a new motion.
With a suggestion of counsel for first defendant and orders the plaintiff applicant to file a fresh motion paper with supporting affidavit and statement of case. Plaintiff is also given leave to address any matters of fact.
We have details from the Apex Court where there are exchanges between Chief Justice Gertrude Tokono and lawyer for the Speaker of Parliament, Thaddeus Sori, and also adjourning the case of Amanda Odoi indefinitely.
My lady, it's
a lawyer,
yes,
like yourself, like yes, you found yourself muddled up this morning. Oh, yes, you have. A lawyer files. I can see what his difficulty is.
Office of the Special Prosecutor demands a return of the unexplained wealth order taken out of its act to enable it conduct lifestyle audits on persons of interest.
Currently, if we are doing a lifestyle audit, the onus lies on us throughout the entire investigation to show to the court how they committed the corruption.
There is more we are bringing your way. Plus, the Electoral Commission says all technical challenges that halted the limited voter registration exercise has been resolved across the various districts. My name is Aisha Brian. We're also live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and X Spaces at JoyNews on TV. My personal handle is @Denana Aisha. Please do stay for details. Efforts to resolve some legal disputes which President Akufo-Addo has cited for his refusal to receive the bill has hit a snag. One of the cases filed by Richard Sky has been adjourned indefinitely to allow the legal practitioner and broadcaster to file a fresh motion to take care of some mistakes in his earlier motion. There were also intense exchanges of words between Chief Justice Gertrude Tokono and lawyer for the Speaker of Parliament, Thaddeus Sori.
It is clear from the two affidavits, even if the court takes the view that one was offensively or purportedly withdrawn, the second one or the first one still contained the same objection. So he should have waited. I think he's overshot the runway. My lady, then the most important thing in the learned Attorney General's submission, and let me corroborate his point that he's my very good friend, is the attempt to even say when the plaintiff has admitted that there is something wrong with his motion paper, he still takes the view that there is nothing wrong with the motion paper. Because by the very motion they have filed to amend, what I'm saying is that the plaintiff himself has seen the problem based on the objection and has filed a motion. Yes, my lady.
Listen, he says there is no material difference between the original relief,
yes, my lady,
and the amendment sought.
Good.
The error only seeks to correct an error in formulation.
Very good. And my lady,
that's all he said.
If there is no material difference, there is no point in the application. That's the point. If there's no material difference. Yes, my lord. So
can you resume your seat? Kindly resume your seat.
Which actually deals a blow to the application.
Kindly resume your seat. By court, our considered view is that the alleged preliminary objection is unnecessary and does not seek to assist any process before this court. Every party has an inherent right to present the appropriate formulation of their reliefs or other process before the court to enable the court to determine the real matters in controversy. The objection is dismissed.
As the court pleases, Fali.
You've taken our time and energy for nothing.
So the Richard Della's case was adjourned indefinitely. The second case involving Amanda Odoi has been adjourned indefinitely because the court says some of the processes filed by lawyers for the Speaker of Parliament's lawyers, some of the processes filed by the lawyers for the Speaker of Parliament contain scandalous language.
By court, after listening to all counsel, the court agrees with the suggestion of counsel for first defendant and orders the plaintiff applicant to file a fresh motion paper with supporting affidavit and statement of case. Plaintiff is also given leave to address any matters of fact and issues of law in the new process. Plaintiff applicant is given up to 17th of May. So now you have moved from 9th to 17th of May. Up to 17th of May 2024 to further new processes. Counsel for defendants are given 7 days after service on them to file any processes that they may wish to. But
I'm proud just to point out that he's to address new matters of fact in the affidavit, but not issues of law. Especially that would be offensive of the rules. Affidavit contains matters of fact, new matters of fact.
And I said so.
No, it's a new issue and issues of law. I had.
Yes.
No.
I said matters of fact.
Yes.
And issues of law.
No,
that they want to.
Right. Because
I don't want any further applications.
No, right? Because issues of law cannot be an affidavit. So
no. Listen.
Right.
Listen. I don't know if you listened to my ruling.
Yes.
I said the plaintiff applicant is to file a fresh motion paper with supporting affidavit and statement of case.
Oh, statement of case. Right.
Yes.
That's fine.
That's part of the ruling.
That's fine.
If you missed that.
That's fine. Yes.
This is why I said he may introduce any new issues of law, because I'm not going to give you any new, I'm not going to listen to any further applications for amendment. So just do a good job. And let everybody say what you want to say.
We'll be getting Kwekwa Sante, who is with the Legal Affairs Desk, who's been monitoring this in court for us, to join us with more from what the counsels of the applicants have been saying. But again, let's stick with the legal issues. The presiding judge in the case of the minority leader, Dr. Kasiel Atoforsen, who is being tried for causing financial loss to the state, does not want the case to travel beyond the end of July. The judge, Justice Efia Asaribotri, had earlier imposed a timeline of early May to deliver her judgment, but the deadline has been missed. In court yesterday, the judge admonished the parties to deliver as expected of them to conclude the case before the next legal vacation. Legal Affairs correspondent Kwekwa Sante reports.
The High Court in Accra, presided over by Justice Efia Asaribotri, has said the trial of Dr. Kasiel Atoforsen should not travel beyond the end of July. Earlier, the court had fixed May 3, 2024 for judgment, but that did not hold following some recent developments. Dr. Kasiel Atoforsen, the current minority leader in Parliament, together with Richard Jakpa, a private businessman, are standing trial for allegedly causing financial loss to the Republic in an ambulance deal in the sum of 2.37 million euros. Dr. Sylvester Animana, the second accused, was earlier charged together with the two persons, has now been discharged by the Attorney General's office, which filed a nolle prosequi to discontinue the charges against him. In court today, the court's attention was drawn to the fact that the lawyer for the third accused person, Thaddeus Sori, had filed witness statements for his client, but both lawyers for the state and the minority leader were served on the morning of the case being called again in court. Dr. Kasiel Atoforsen and other accused persons are accused of willfully causing financial loss of 2.37 million euros to the state through a contract to purchase 200 ambulances for the Ministry of Health. The case has now been adjourned to 9th May at 12 noon for the third accused person to continue his evidence in chief. Reporting for Joy News, Kweku Asante, High Court Complex here in Accra.
Still in the High Court, family of an 11-year-old boy allegedly murdered by two teenagers for money rituals say they are disappointed the case was not concluded Tuesday. The High Court was expected to determine the fate of the two teenagers accused of the murder, but the case has been adjourned to June 24 for closing addresses and the judges summing up before the jury will announce its verdict. Harrison Mensah is a spokesperson for the family.
Well, obviously, we were expecting that the case judgment would be delivered today, but unfortunately, it didn't happen. We are so much disappointed, especially the mother and the father, because it has been a very difficult moment for them, and it has had a very big toll on them, because they want judgment to be delivered so that everybody will have his or her peace of mind to go about their duty. It's been over 3 years now, and we were given the date only to be disappointed today that the case has been adjourned to 24th of June. We only pray and hope that nothing crops up on the 24th and that judgment will be delivered and everybody will have his or her peace of mind to go about his or her normal duties.
The Office of the Special Prosecutor has called for the return of the unexplained wealth order, which it says was taken out of the act to conduct lifestyle audit into the finances of interested persons. Director of Strategy, Research and Communications, Amanda Odoi, made the call at the 14th Commonwealth Conference for Heads of Anti-Corruption Agencies in Accra. According to him, its absence is making trial of some cases difficult. He has also alleged that some influential persons are behind sponsored attacks on the work of the OSP.
The Office of the Special Prosecutor has come under public scrutiny over the period for its inability to successfully prosecute any suspect or any corruption-related case. Now, a good section of Ghanaians believe that with the level of financing and autonomy granted the OSP, he should have been doing more than just investigations. Addressing some of these concerns at the 14th Conference of Heads of Anti-Corruption Bodies here in Accra, the Director of Strategy, Research and Communications of the OSP, Amanda Odoi, says that it is not the case that the OSP is not doing much, but some of these criticisms are actually sponsored to smear the office.
And then we also face what we call sponsored attacks and propaganda, where those who are very rich and powerful, when you are investigating them, they tend to be able to offer some monetary incentive to even journalists, and they will consistently be attacking you and spewing counter and false information against your outfit, all in a hope to create that impression that we are all the same, nobody is perfect. Why are you trying to prosecute somebody or investigate somebody as if you are a saint? But the idea is that those of us in the anti-corruption industry are not saints. We're just trying to go by the law.
He indicates that the omission of a certain acts from the setup of the OSP is hindering their work.
When the lawmaker was putting together the Office of the Special Prosecutor Act, they took something very key out of it, which in implementing our law, we've discovered that it shouldn't have been done, which is what we call the unexplained wealth order. It was taken out of the OSP Act, and it's a very problematic matter for us because of the caliber of people we are to investigate. They are more complicated, they have more money, they have more people, they can get the best lawyers and all that. And this is a provision that would have helped us to do lifestyle audits in a better way. Currently, if we are doing a lifestyle audit, the onus lies on us throughout the entire investigation to show to the court how they committed the corruption. But if we have this, we are sure that when we're able to prove that your lawful income does not match your assets, then the burden shifts to you. We don't have that.
One key challenge the three investigative bodies, SHRAJ, IOCO, and the OSP, have bemoaned is the lack of domestic collaboration between them to address issues brought before them effectively.
Or what some people call turf war. That is where maybe there is a particular issue that the two or more agencies have to collaborate. But one agency will think that if I cede my turf to another agency to collaborate or to take part, it is going to make me unpopular or is.
I've been joined by Edem Senano. He's co-chair of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption. Grateful for your time, Mr. Senano. What's your reading into the OSP's request for the return of the unexplained wealth order, which it says was taken out of the OSP's act to conduct lifestyle audit into the finances of interested persons?
Well, good afternoon. I think it's a relevant point they make, considering the nature of the level of investigations they do, which clearly does involve high-profile individuals with high net incomes and influence. And usually, there's a lot of money, a lot of property, and you want to be able to put the burden of proof in the quarters of that individual to demonstrate a legitimate source of these resources that they have at their disposal. So yes, it certainly will make their work easier because then that person then needs to provide all the necessary evidence to support why these resources should be left to them and not confiscated. I think it's a useful comment to make since they started working using this law.
Well, the OSP is also alleging that some influential persons are behind the sponsored attacks on the works of the OSP. Genuine concern?
I think that, we say that corruption fights back. And from that context, the OSP ought to anticipate that this is the nature of the terrain. I don't think it is something that should be belabored. Perhaps because the audience in this case was people, heads of agencies who are also in the anti-corruption space in the Commonwealth. They are sharing some of the experiences. But in my view, this is something that is to be expected. Some of those individuals definitely will be using their networks and contacts to try and make sure that their case, their voice is heard. And I don't think that that should be a particularly major surprise or unique situation that the OSP would find itself in. Other countries, other similar agencies will go through the same thing.
Ranking member of the Subsidiary Legislation Committee, Andy Apiakubi, actually says that he suspects the clash between IOCO and the OSP, on the Cecilia Dapa issue. He says it may be a cover-up in that case. What's your observation, considering that they are both anti-corruption agencies and must be working together?
First of all, yes, the big question which all citizens are concerned about is, where is the money actually from? A public officer who ends up having hundreds of thousands of dollars foreign currency and cannot explain it. To date, she has not provided an explanation for the extra monies. And we're not talking 5, 10,000, hundreds, thousands, And in that context, we would expect that the various entities will be working together to tell us the answer. So yes, there's a sense in which one just begins to become suspicious that some kind of cover-up may be going on here. In the recent one where IOCO says they can't find any sufficient information to proceed, it's very, very curious because their mandate is to investigate. They haven't yet investigated, and yet they say they cannot proceed. I think that the attorney generals, as the key state entity responsible to get answers whenever there's a crime in Ghana, should be the one bringing together, calling OSP, calling IOCO on one platform, one phone conference call. IOCO needs this, OSP needs that. How do you work together to deliver on the mandate that the people have given you? It's a bit surprising that that has not happened, and I think that the parties concerned need to, demonstrate some maturity in being able to talk about these matters, facilitating it, and answering the question all of us are wondering. What is the source of this money? If it is not legitimate, where did it come from? If it is legitimate, then you drop the case. But until that question is answered, in general, they appear to have failed to deliver on the mandate that we've given them.
Adam Senano, I'm grateful for your time. He's the co-chair of the Citizens Coalition Against Corruption. Kwakwa Sante has joined us from the Supreme Court on the matter of Richard de la Sky and Dr. Amanda Odoi that has been adjourned indefinitely. He has more because he's been sitting through for us. Kwakwa Sante, first, who are the members of the panel that heard the case?
Well, I share 5-member panel presided over by the Chief Justice herself, Madam Gertrude Tokono. The other 4 members of the panel are Justice Yawa Saridakon, Professor Henrietta Mensah-Bonsu, and Justice Maria Mawusu, and then Justice Ernest Gaiwu. They make up the 5-member panel that are hearing both cases, obviously presided over by the Chief Justice, who is a member of the panel.
It's about how the Chief Justice concluded that the Amanda Odoi's case involved scandalous language.
Well, the Amanda Odoi case was the second case to have been called in court today. The lawyers for Amanda Odoi raised concerns about certain averments that have been made in the processes filed in court by Thaddeus Sori, who is Speaker for Parliament, who is lawyer for the Speaker of Parliament. The lawyers contended that the language of it contained what they called intemperate and inappropriate language. They thought that some of the language containing that averment was so strong that they should not have been contained in those processes that were filed by the court. When they did make that point of law in court, they were backed by the Attorney General, Godfrey Adame, who also agreed that the language was intemperate, was inappropriate, and should not have been used in the court documents that were filed by Thaddeus Sori. Thaddeus Sori fought back and said that he was using those words in context, and the context was that he was responding directly to certain averments that had been made by lawyers by Amanda Odoi. Ultimately, the 5-member panel unanimously decided in favor of Amanda Odoi's lawyers and ruled that that those processes would have to be withdrawn by lawyer Thaddeus Sori. He has to file a new averment in opposition to the application that is being sought by Amanda Odoi and her lawyers in court. And so that is it when it comes to the Amanda Odoi case. In the first case having to do with Richard de la Sky, the Supreme Court held, again unanimously, that 2 applications that have been filed by his lawyers, one an application for leave to amend the reliefs that he was seeking from the court, and also an application for leave to file supplementary affidavits, were all merited. And that in fact, if you look at the wording and the wording of the reliefs that were being sought by Richard de la Sky, they were muddled up. Those were the words that the court borrowed from Thaddeus Sori in arriving at their conclusion. And so they are giving the lawyer for Richard de la Sky up to some time to also fix that. Ultimately, again, on that score, the lawyer for the Speaker of Parliament, Thaddeus Sori, disagreed and said that the case could move on without the court granting the leave to Richard de la Sky and his lawyers to file an amendment to those reliefs. The court did not agree with him and did rule for the lawyers that they should also amend that. So those 2 cases have all now been adjourned indefinitely, no specific date. When these applications are now filed, the Supreme Court will, by hearing notice, communicate to the parties that the cases are ripe for hearing again. And so the hope of the sponsors of this bill and the Speaker of Parliament that today they could have gotten some conclusion to the national application that it will be granted or not granted, so that they could have sent the bill that was passed by Parliament to the President, has also now been dashed because it has to take some time for the case to come back to the Supreme Court for a hearing.
Kwasante, with that update from the Supreme Court, definitely this is where to stay for all the updates on this running case. Let's get on to other stories. The NDC running mate, Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman, has expressed disappointment in the delays and mishaps that characterized the first day of the Electoral Commission's limited voter registration exercise. While touring some registration centers in Accra this morning, the former Education Minister was pleased with processes so far.
Well, yesterday was chaotic, as we all know. The machines weren't working. many places hadn't started on time, as was advertised, and therefore today is much better, and my hope is that it continues, as it should. And in terms of yesterday, I know there are machines and so on, but one would not have expected that on such a large scale there'll be consistent problems. So definitely, if there were places, as I hear, where not even a single person was registered, or where very, very few people were registered because of challenges with the machines, then definitely the EC must make up for that time. If it's an extra day, it should be restored. Whatever it is, if it's a couple of hours, it should be extended to the following day, just so that everybody registers. I think the job is to ensure that we facilitate the process. So it's not to frustrate people. I'm hopeful that wasn't the intention. All I'm saying is that, yes, people were frustrated because things weren't working. And I'm happy that today I haven't seen same. And I'm hopeful that as we go forward, we'll just have a smooth process. And that on the day of voting, we will never see anything like this.
Meanwhile, the NDC's Medina Constituency Secretary has warned persons perceived to belong to the governing NPP to desist from allegedly busing people from Achimwenchi to registration centers at Medina.
The message we would like to send across is, Medina, both NDC and NPP, we have coexisted peacefully. We have never had any altercation whenever it comes to this kind of exercises. But until just some few days back, we got an intel that the MPP's candidates is busing some individuals precisely from Achimwenchi. And all that we would like to send, the message that we would like to send across is, we plead with them. They should remain in their towns and get registered. However, if they decide to go against the laws and come to Medina, we are equally ready for them. Some of them might end up not going back with their heads. That one we have prepared. And yesterday, for instance, you can see our security team were here in their numbers, and we are equally prepared for them. In short, we're just pleading with our colleagues on the other side, the peaceful coexistence that we have always enjoyed. Let us maintain that protocols, and everything will be fine, and we'll continue to enjoy our peace.
Meanwhile, the governing New Patriotic Party has criticized the Electoral Commission's conduct of the limited registration exercise, which was rocked by malfunctioning software, faulty equipment and power and internet disruptions. Hundreds of first-time voters had to wait for hours, and many were forced to leave as the EC scrambled to fix the problem. We'll be listening to Director of Elections for the NPP, Evans Nemako.
The first day of the limited voter registration exercise was characterized by several challenges, including internet and technical hitches affecting the process in various districts of the Ashanti region. Applicants who participated in the registration exercise were unable to go through the process. This halted the exercise for hours, leaving some party agents and applicants worried.
How's the process been?
Well, for me, when I got here, it's been 2 hours now. And well, when I got here, they said the network is unstable, so we are looking out for the network to be stable for us to be able to do it and go home, because we're standing here and the sun too is very hot here. So we are just expecting it for the network to be stable for us to do it and then go.
Our concern is a lot. Today is the day we are starting with the registration, and we have mobilized those kids from DRC, estate, everywhere. And we are here till date. Nobody is telling us anything.
Yesterday, experience was not one of the best, but the challenges that has to do with network issues will have a little solution from us. For us as a party, we had found out our agents, our national and party executives across to monitor this exercise. Limited registration exercise for 21 days requires of us that for each of the centers that the EC will be doing the registration, we send someone as an agent who will look through the exercise and ensure that the CI that is to be used is complied accordingly. And so we had gone out readiness to go through the exercise, except that these challenges confronted the whole exercise. We are expecting that the remaining 20 days, the EC infrastructure will not give us these kind of experiences going forward.
The Director of Electoral Services at the Electoral Commission, Dr. Shribo Kwako, has meanwhile blamed the technical challenges on poor internet connectivity and challenges with transferring verification codes to registration officers across the country. He's refuted claims that the EC deliberately orchestrated a scheme in order to disenfranchise voters in certain areas.
A lot of security measures that have been put in place to avoid people misusing the system. So normally when we have the activation code, we don't give it to them a day before because of the possibility of somebody doing something onto it. So we do give them the dawn of the registration. So that when they go to the registration center, they will activate biometrically an activation code and they will do the start of day so that people can now start tracking. Because start of day will indicate whether somebody is already in the register or on the machine. So that when you finish the day, every day you have start of day and end of day. So with the 21 days that we are doing this registration, any agent who wants to track can put the 21 end of day records, because the end of day will indicate everybody who has been registered, the time and the particulars of that person. So if you put them together, that gives you the register for the period. So because we did not want them to have the code so they can activate earlier than the period, when the time came that we sent it through them, then they were having difficulty in activating the system. And after that, because we're doing online at our offices, I don't know whether it is a pressure of the data flow, whatever, they had a stage back, but as of now, I'm told that all the centers were activated around 12 o'clock. I received a letter, message from Voter Region and Center Region. Voter Region has 18 registration centers and Center has 22. Before I came here, they all sent a message that they are working. So now I will say we are almost done.
We're still live on JoyNews Today. We're coming to you from our studios in Kokomlemle. Let's take a break. When we return, there's the very latest coming from the world of business.
Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to the business segment on JoyNews Today with me, Pius Kojo Baka. Inflation for the month of April 2024 has declined to 25% from the 25.8% recorded in March 2024. By this, the rate of inflation for the month of April 2024 slowed by 0.8%. According to the Ghana Statistical Service, food inflation contributed to the overall drop in the rate of inflation as it recorded a rate of 26.8%, the lowest since 13 months, with non-food inflation of 23.5%. Here's government statistician Professor Samuel Kobneni.
In the month of April 2024, rate of inflation stood at 25.0%, indicating that between April 2023 and April 2024, general prices of goods and services went up by 25.0%. This 25.0% indicates a slowdown of 0.8 percentage points between the rate that was recorded in March 2024 of 25.8% relative to 25.0% for the month of April 2024. We saw a contrasting trend between food and non-food inflation, while we saw a decrease in non-food inflation from 29.6% to 26.8% for the month of April 2024. The reverse was the case for non-food inflation, as it increased from 22.6% to 23.5%. The rate of inflation of 26.8% that has been recorded for food inflation is the lowest in the last 13 months. From a regional perspective, the Upper East region recorded the highest rate of inflation of 42.5%, which was close to 4 times the rate that was recorded by the Otu region, which had the lowest of 11.3% for the month of April 2024. For inflation on locally produced items and imported items, we continue to see the dominance of inflation for locally produced items as it recorded a rate of inflation that was 2.2 percentage points higher than the rate of inflation for imported items, specifically with locally produced items recording a rate of inflation of 25.7% relative to 23.5% for inflation on imported items.
Now, Ghana is set to launch an SME growth and opportunity program this month. According to the Finance Minister, Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam, small and medium-sized enterprises contribute about 70% of Ghana's GDP. With proper capital investment, they could drive significant economic growth in the long to medium term. He made these remarks at a ceremony to rebrand FBN Bank Ghana to First Bank Ghana.
When I took over as minister, and I've read all the documents, all the policy prescriptions, I found that our growth strategy focused more on attracting foreign direct investments. Of course, we need foreign direct investment. Every nation that has developed with foreign direct investment. But if you look at the global economic dynamics today, countries like ours are unable to attract foreign direct investment in the scale that we need. And therefore, if we have to grow as an economy, we have to change the trajectory. And this is why my focus going forward is to build SMEs and make more financing available to SMEs so we can grow the economy from within. And so by the numbers I have presented to you, 70% of our GDP from SMEs. Is there any reason to doubt why we all should not focus on making more funds available to SMEs? There is no basis we should not do that. And therefore, the Ministry of Finance will launch very soon an SME Growth and Opportunity Program. And this we will do before the end of this month, to ensure government delivers a sustainable financing framework that allows for stronger collaboration between the public and private sectors to secure financing for SMEs in Ghana.
That's it for business.
Time now to bring you sports on Joy News Today with me, Muftau Nabila Abla. Ghana's quartet for this year's Olympic Games said that they would need about 3 to a month campaign ahead of the Paris Olympic Games, which will happen this summer. Team Ghana secured qualification to the competition after finishing first with a season best of 38.29 seconds in the Bahamas race last weekend, and they believe with the right preparations they will be in position to compete against the best during the Olympic Games.
I think we've had teams, so many teams that can go sub 38. It's just a matter of, it's really is a repetitive thing, continuous practice and stuff like that. Even if we get 3 weeks to a month, we should be able to do that. We've had so many teams that could go sub 38. So hopefully everybody is healthy in Olympics. We get like the whole team that we're looking for. These guys are amazing, and we could get 2 additional guys to us. What is coming, we can't really see it. Honestly, it's more of company motivation, Even though we intrinsically motivate each other, the extrinsic motivation could also be a factor. So camping us somewhere for maybe 3 weeks to a month, we really appreciate that. I feel like I said, relay is something that you got to keep practicing. We're trying to stretch our zone to be able to to get the baton around efficiently, and that doesn't just come like that. You have to continuously do it before you get to the D-Day. So I think getting some weeks of practice or even close to a month is something that will be very, very essential to us here.
Perfect. And later tonight, the UEFA Champions League second leg semi-final between Real Madrid and Bayern Munich will be happening, and it is a game that will see either Real Madrid make it to the final or Bayern Munich, Borussia Dortmund that made it to the final
last night after defeating Paris Saint-Germain. So join the Joy Sports team at Heritage Craft Brewery later tonight as we bring you commentary in that game. It is part of our build-up to the His FM Rep Your Jersey on June 1, which will be happening at the Aviation Social Center. So Heritage Brewery, Craft Brewery inside East Legon is the venue for tonight. We start our build-up at 6:45 p.m. Commentary on Joy 99.7 and also on Haze 103.9 FM. We appreciate your time.
Good afternoon, you're welcome to the Showbiz segments with me, Jacqueline and Sama Yabwa. Now, securing the top spot on the Apple Music Top 100 is gospel group Team Eternity Ghana. They triumph with their latest single, Defe Defe, extracted from their sophomore album, Testimony. This achievement dethrones Asylum, the previous chart topper, by emerging artist Olive the Boy. We have more in this report.
Team Eternity has accomplished a remarkable feat by claiming the #1 position on the Apple Music Top 100, solidifying their place as one of the leading voices in contemporary gospel music. Comprised of dedicated vocalists, they resonate with audiences by spreading messages of faith and hope through their compelling compositions. Their latest album, Testimony, showcases a standout track, Defe Defe, currently reigning on the Apple Music chart. Additionally, the group impressively occupies 7 more slots with songs like Ghana Chant, Brass Band Medley, and the soul-stirring collaboration Jehovah Overdue, featuring Nigerian singer Aben. These tracks, including Miracle Working God, Tribute, the title track Testimony, and Wasem, hold positions at number 25, number 40, 60, 75, 76, 90, and 94 respectively within just a week of the album's release. In an interview, soprano singer Dr. Emanuela Abasa Kunedu shares the inspiration behind the song Defe Defe.
So the writer of the song, he's called Patrick. Most people know him as Vessel Quadric. He wrote the first half of the song, and Nana wrote the rap. I think he mentioned that he wrote that song from a place of chaos. I can't claim to know, what that chaos was, but I want to believe that he was going through a really hard time, and God gave him that song. And when you listen to the lyrics, it's about, feeling limited in your expression of praise and worship, because sometimes you want to give your all and people say things. They say,
As the song gains momentum among listeners, tenor singer Joseph Gordon sheds light on the secret to Defe Defe's success.
I think it's a known fact that Ghanaians love to dance, love to move their body. And we are constantly, for the want of a better word, I say suckers for melody. And that is what Defe Defe actually encompasses. This is more of the technical bits of music and sound that I'm actually projecting discussion from. The fact that it's even appealing to the ear. I mean, as believers, you are even blown away that the shout-out is even coming from the non-believing side of people, and it's only a testament. Like we said earlier, our message is Jesus, and the plan is that the vision actually for Team Eternity is that we reach out to young souls, we reach out to a large kaleidoscope of young people.
Furthermore, Gordon reveals that the team was surprised by the song's traction on major streaming platforms, despite not having planned an extensive promotion strategy.
Defe Defe. You know how speechless I am, because truth is, there's a whole story to the release of the album. People think that we actually had a release strategy, promotion budget and stuff like that, but guess what? It wasn't like that. We actually woke up after uploading the album for review on the digital stores, and before we realized that even gone live without us knowing, and we just had to key in the PR, to just try and let people know that the album was out, and guess what? The results is just amazing. We count it all by the grace of God.
Team Eternity Ghana's meteoric rise on the music charts exemplifies not only their talent, but also their ability to resonate with audiences on a profound level, offering a source of inspiration and comfort in today's tumultuous times. Jacqueline and Sumaya Boy's report, read to you.
Now, Ghanaian rapper Amrado says he regrets using insults in his diss songs. According to him, some words used in the songs released were uncalled for. Speaking to Andy Dusty on Daybreak Hit, he stated that his regrets were not geared towards the beef, but some lyrics in the song. Let's take a listen.
When Strongman mentioned that, he just met Fela Makafui, and that there were certain statements or certain things he said in a rap song against her, and seeing her and how they were vibing, he felt like, the words were unpalatable, they were unpleasant, and that he regrets some of the things he said. Now, you are saying you don't regret the beef. Yeah. Do you regret certain statements you made in there?
Yes, please, I do. With some of the words that I said, I do. But I don't regret the whole banter. Whatever happened for my own good and for the opponent as well. But I believe that in the heat of the moment, we don't have enough time to reason through the lyrics before we put it out, because people are waiting for you, and it's back to back to back to back. So sometimes I need to.
What are some of the things you regret?
Some of the insults, yeah, in the rap songs, yeah.
But were you insulting people?
Some were way over the bar. Like,
really?
Yeah. But sometimes when people hit you, and then I don't want to. If it's not good, we don't repeat it. You just let it go.
Well, it's a wrap for the Showbiz segments with me, Jacqueline and Suma Iyabwa. But Aisha, what's your take on the Diffie Diffie song? I think the gospel fraternity is on the rise this time around.
I think it's nice.
Yeah.
I don't know the lyrics in there, but just the sound of it.
Yeah.
It makes
has
an
Afrobeat kind of vibe.
And all of that. So, yeah, it's putting Ghana up there. And we're glad that is happening. Thank you for bringing us Showbiz. That'll be it for the bulletin. Thankfully, my journal line is back. You can log on to that for more of the news and updates of all the developing stories. To enjoy the rest of our programs.